Hello everyone and welcome to my video. So today I want to share you about my analysis about short story. The title of the story that I want to analyze is The Death of a Government Clerk. This story was created by Anton Chekhov, who is a famous writer from Russia. Okay, the first thing that I want to analyze is plot analysis. Here we have an exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and the denouement. The exposition from the story begins when there is a government clerk named Ivan Dmitry Chervyakov who is watching an opera with his opera glass very happily. And then suddenly he sneezed and spattered a man in front of him who was his senior named Brizhalov, even to different department. And then we have a rising action. The rising action of this story begins when Chervyakov approached uh, Brizhalov to apologize for spattered him. And after that, there is a climax. The climax happened when Brizhalov told Chervyakov to get out of his room. And then we have a falling action. The falling action happened after Chervyakov came out from Brizhalov's room, and then Chervyakov walked to his house. And the last is the denouement. After Chervyakov arriving to his home, without taking off his uniform, Chervyakov lay her body on the sofa and then he died. And then the conflict from this story is between man versus himself. Why? Because Chervyakov fight with his own feeling. Chervyakov always felt ashamed or unwell because he had done something rude to his senior. And next is the character analysis. The major character of this story are Ivan Dmitry Chervyakov and General Brizhalov. And then the minor character from the story is Chervyakov's wife. So the Chervyakov is a round character and dynamic character, while General Brizhalov is a round and static character. The Chervyakov round character because he can feel the human sense such as embarrassment, fear, and worry. Then he dynamic character because at the beginning of the story he attempts to apologize to Brizhalov because Chervyakov has spattered on Brizhalov. But at the end of the story, Chervyakov no longer tried to apologize to Brizhalov. And then next is General Brizhalov. General Brizhalov is a round character because also he can feel human sense like angry. And then Brizhalov is a static character because he still ignores the apologize from Chervyakov uh, from the beginning of the story until the end of the story. And then after that we move to setting analysis. In setting analysis we have place and social setting. So in the place in the place, there are some places that mentioned in the story, such as the second row of the stalls, and then Brishalov's room, and then the Chervyakov's home, and the last is the Arcadia. And then uh, there is also a social setting. From the story, we can know that Chervyakov and Brishalov are both came from high-class people, because, as we know, at that time the opera only can watch by high people. So that's why we can assume that Chervyakov and Brishalov are from the high-class people. And then we have theme analysis. From my analysis, there are some themes that contained in the story that are embarrassment and fear. Why embarrassment? Because Chervyakov had been sneezing in the audience seats while the opera was being performed. Then he spattered the to he spattered the person in front of him, which was his senior, yeah, named Brisalov. So it is a natural thing that make Chervyakov feel ashamed. And then fear. Why fear? Because Chervyakov had been sneezing and spattered to Brizhalov. It is important to remember that Brizhalov rank in the department is higher than Chervyakov, which may be the reason that Chervyakov fears the consequences of his actions, because he could be dismissed from his job. And then next analysis is point of view. So in this story, the point of view that used by the narrator is third omniscient POV, or point of view, because the narrator knew about feeling and thought of several characters in the story. And then next analysis is about literary element. In this story, there are figurative language and imagery which contain in the story. As we can see here, the example of figurative language is there is a faintish light in his eye, which this sentence include in figurative language. And then the example of imagery in auditory or sound is the expression upchi. Upchi is the expression of sneezing, and this has happened when Chervyakov was sneezing. So we can imagine, or imagine the sound. So we can listening the sneezing at the time. And then the opinion. Besides of all of the analysis that I have shared to you, I also have an opinion to this short story. So according to my opinion, I agree with this story. Why? Because this story could be happen in real life. Because in fact, there are some people who feel ashamed or unwell because they have disturbed people's comfort for those around them. And in the story is exemplified by a person who sneezes. That is Chervyakov. So that's why I agree with this story, because it could be happen in real life like that. Maybe that's all from me, and I hope you guys can enjoy the video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and bye bye.